We are live and recording. Hello, good evening. Happy Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tina Long. If you guys are here and you can hear us, please pop a hello in the chat box there. You'll see it on the bottom right of your screen. That way we know that you guys can hear us and that you know where the chat box is, because this will be more fun if you ask questions along the way. Hi, Anne. It's good to see you. So we are NV Instruction, which stands for Northern Virginia. Hi, Jamie. Northern Virginia Instructional Consulting. And we are located in Northern Virginia, but we do provide services all over the state. I'm Tina Long. I'm a behavior analyst. I do a lot of therapeutic consultation, which we will tell you about. Hi, Miriam. Miriam works with our awesome team. So I'm based in Fairfax, Virginia. I'm sitting in my little office. I just recently moved into a little office and it's really fun. So this is one thing that's available when you come work for us, is a little bit of office space. And if we get bigger, we can get more office space. Jerian says, I can hear, but it's breaking up. It could be your connection. Try refreshing and it will pop you right back into here. And I'll put that here. Just try refreshing. It will bring you back. You won't get kicked out forever. So like I said, I'm Tina Long, I'm a behavior analyst, and we are growing and looking to grow even more. So we are looking for behavior analysts, assistant behavior analysts, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech and language pathologists, licensed clinical social workers can work with us under the waiver. And so we would love to be able to do this in person and have like an actual sort of recruiting event. But due to the current pandemic and all of the physical distancing that's going on, we wanted to get creative and try something flexible. So we're trying an online happy hour, and we do want to buy you some drinks. So there is a green button down there at the bottom of the screen. And if you click there, then drinks on us, fill out that form and we'll get you a Starbucks card. Whether or not you're interested in joining us, just go ahead and fill it out, because we'd love to say thank you for being here with us. This will be recorded, so if you want to come back to it, you can, or if you want to share it, you can. And the cool thing about this whole platform that I'm using is that it will be recorded forever. It will be available, and so we can put a link to it, and this kind of becomes one of our recruiting things. So this Crowdcast is a pretty neat little platform to use. I'm going to let some other people introduce themselves. I have Madison here, who works with us, and Sam, and Miriam is participating along in the chat. We do have a couple other team members who weren't available to join us tonight, but Sam, will you tell us who you are and what you do at NV Instruction?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Wolfe. I am fairly new to the NV Instruction team as of August. I am the operations manager, so I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people don't see. We work primarily with the DD state waiver. So I do a lot of the service authorizations and communication with the CSB and their support coordinators in order to get hours authorized, dates, plans, all that background stuff, like I said. So that's been my primary role, and then just assisting Tina with all of her creativity and ideas.
They never end.
It does not end, which is amazing, because we have a lot of really awesome ideas, and we're really, moving forward with a lot of them. So we're super glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Cool. And Madison, tell us about you and what you do for us.
I am a therapeutic consultant for NVIC, and I started, I'm actually a newly licensed consultant as well. So, but I got my supervision hours with Tina too. So we've had quite the road, and I'm currently I'm doing telehealth right now. And it's awesome that we've been able to maximize on this during such a hard time. And it's been great so far. So, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to pop them in the chat box.
Cool. So I'm just looking at, I did make some notes. So what we primarily do and what we are looking to really expand is called Therapeutic Consultation, and it's under our state waiver. So if you're familiar or not familiar with Virginia, there's a waiver that's available for individuals with disabilities, intellectual and developmental disabilities. About 25% of individuals with disabilities in the state receive the waiver, and there's a long wait list, just like there is in every state. But one service that's available is Therapeutic Consultation, and under that, individuals can receive consultation for behavior, which can be provided by a behavior analyst or an assistant behavior analyst. It can be provided by a positive behavior support facilitator, a licensed clinical social worker, or a licensed professional counselor. And then there's also consultation services available for occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech and language, therapeutic recreation, rehab engineering, psychology, maybe nursing, all under the same program. And so since we are providers of that, we can build a team with all of those different service providers. So we currently have 2 full-time behavior analysts, me and Madison. We have a couple of part-time assistant behavior analysts. We've recently hired another full-time behavior analyst. We have a couple of occupational therapists and a physical therapist who's joining us. And then we do have 2 student interns who are students at George Mason University. So I'm a university practicum supervisor, and that's where I met Madison. So some semesters I have the pleasure of having students join me, and that's always really fun because I love learning and teaching and growing. So that gives us more opportunities to do more creative activities. Therapeutic consultation is unique from other service deliveries in that if you're a BCBA or a BCABA who is accustomed to traditional in-home ABA, and you're doing it under that tiered model with, a BCBA or BCABA and a behavior technician or tutor, or whatever their title may be, delivering the services, in consultation, it's all designed for completing a behavior assessment, developing a behavior support plan, or sometimes just a teaching protocol. We don't have to do like a full behavior intervention plan if there is just a need for skill acquisition, like independent toileting or something like that. So we don't always have to do a full behavior intervention plan, but then we develop it very collaboratively along with the team, whoever it may be, and then develop all of the technologies to go along with it, train for the implementation, evaluate the ongoing effectiveness of it, make changes as needed. So it's a very flexible program. It's not a direct service model. We can do a tiny bit of direct services for behavior therapy, but for the other areas, it's all consultation for families, caregivers, and other service providers. And we work with ages 4, I think is the youngest I've ever had a waiver recipient, up to like 60, 65. They're on the waiver for life. It is a long-term care service. So we get all different ages, lots of different populations. So not just autism, not just people with intellectual disabilities. There's opportunities to work with individuals who have different co-occurring medical conditions or mental health conditions. Last summer, Madison and I actually got to spend a lot of time at the Northern Virginia Mental Health Institute, completing a functional behavior assessment and writing a plan for an individual with intellectual disabilities who was hospitalized, and they just didn't know what to do with him. So that was a lot of fun and definitely a room for growth for us. We learned a lot there, and it was neat to be able to collaborate with professionals inside the hospital, because I don't feel like that's a place that behavior analysts are often invited. So that was a lot of fun. We work in a lot of different environments. So we have family homes, we have folks who are in group homes, we have individuals who live independently, like in an apartment. And we consult with whole teams. So sometimes if you have somebody in a group home, they might have a guardian who is a parent who doesn't obviously live in the group home, but they're very involved. And then you have the group home staff. If they're in a day program or doing some sort of employment or volunteer activities, you have those folks. And so it's a really big team collaborative effort. And there's lots of variety just kind of naturally built in. There's a ton of flexibility and many opportunities to get creative and figure out what really works in an environment. So I have enjoyed doing this, especially after doing so many years of that kind of traditional in-home model, because the variability is great. Madison, what do you think about doing the consultation piece versus a more direct services piece?
So I've had experience doing both. In my supervision time, I was able to do more direct work, and I like this piece better. I feel like you see a lot more there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that I think are really cool, and it's nice to be able to check in, but you're giving a lot of flexibility for growth on the other end. I feel like you're kind of putting responsibility back in the hands of the caregivers. And I think that that's really important, because I do think that that's, we want these things to, generalize across settings. And so I think it's important to be able to make sure that the people that, are really with the client every single day are able to do that. So we still get to do some work, and it's cool when we get to see them every now and then, or, if it's like a video meeting, or if it's, like an ISP where you do currently it's a lot of video chats and that kind of thing. Yeah. I do like it better. And I like designing materials. I've always kind of been into that. Yeah. So I have a lot of fun in doing that, and finding new ways of doing it is exciting when you can develop a new template and you're like, this one's really cool. So I like that.
We're really good at that. Madison is really good at putting a lot of stuff on one page and making it really nice and user-friendly and accessible. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of flexibility for that as well. And Sam, you've experienced a lot of different service deliveries because you were a support coordinator working with many families, and you've worked in other states. Is there anything that you find unique or really valuable about the consultation model that we do?
Yeah, so like Tina said, I've had about 6 years of experience as a support coordinator in total. A couple of those years were in Pennsylvania, and a couple of those years were here in Fairfax. And my favorite thing about Therapeutic Consult, I'm not a BCBA. I don't know a lot about the background of, why things happen. But as far as a service, it was really cool to watch Tina and the other behavior analysts in the area when I was a support coordinator take the individual and figure out what's going on in all their environments. So I had, a couple of families that also just used traditional ABA in their home, which was, wonderful. But the really cool thing about Therapeutic Consult was, this is in their day program, in their home with grandma, all environments. Let's take it all together. Let's figure out what's going on, and let's help figure it out. So I love that it was all encompassing of many different environments. So that was probably my favorite aspect of watching Therapeutic Consult from a third party perspective.
Yeah.
And it works.
It's cool. It's cool because the smallest things can make such a big difference. Right. And when you see that those, whatever it is being implemented across environments and people are adopting it, even if it's just one small change, but it's producing something, it's pretty cool. And Miriam here in the chat says, hi, everyone. I am Miriam, and I've been working with Tina as her intern since August of this year. I'm pursuing my master's degree with ABA certification. I have a medical degree and experience with developmental pediatrics. I must say that everyone on the team has amazing work ethics. I would love to continue my practicum with NV instruction and maybe continue on the team. Hint, hint. Yeah, you're good, Miriam. We're good with that. So yes, and part of what I really love about therapeutic consultation is just what Sam said, with being able to collaborate across teams and include all of the different service providers, caregivers, family members, and to really figure out what does this person's whole day look like from when they wake up to where they go. And now with COVID, where a lot of people are staying at home, so we've had to get flexible and figuring out how to build some predictability into their day and get some more activities in. I've been sending more referrals to our new OT, who I can't wait for her to get started, because we have a lot of individuals who just need some activities throughout their day, and OTs can be really really talented at coming up with those sorts of activities. And, they don't necessarily need a formal behavior intervention plan. They just need a really enriched environment because their normal activities have been taken away. And we are doing everything telehealth currently. We've been approved to continue everything telehealth through like the end of January. And the state has told us that they'll give us a 30-day notice when that changes. So we'll get some warning, but we've also heard that telehealth may be added to our regular services. So we're hoping that we can continue with this kind of flexible service model that we're doing. So if anyone who's listening has questions about therapeutic consultation as a service delivery, please pop it in the chat and we can tell you more about that. But the next thing that I want to talk about is how we here at NV Instruction have a big focus on acceptance and commitment training. And if you're familiar with ACT, then you know what it is. And you might know about the hexaflex and the processes and things like that. If you're not familiar with ACT, acceptance and commitment training is a process that is designed to increase psychological flexibility, which is also creativity. And it's a process that can increase mindfulness and present moment awareness. We can use it to increase social emotional learning skills. We can use it, and I will get to that. Hold on one second. So with ACT, we can use it for social emotional learning. We can use it to supplement any interventions. So it's definitely being used with occupational therapists and physical therapists. Number one, to get creative with their service delivery, but also to work with clients who are having difficulty with pain or sticking with a program or things like that. And so we have a big focus on acceptance and commitment training. I use it for a lot of my services now. I use it for supervision. We're going to do some supervision webinars soon. Madison's going to join me tomorrow to talk about how we can use the ACT matrix, which is what I work with, for time management for behavior analysts, because time management is hard for consultants. And so we are doing a webinar on Friday with an assistive technology company that we work with to talk about how to get flexible with collaborating, because sometimes we can be a little campy with our professions and not be the best collaborators. And so we are going to talk about that on Friday. So Anne says, Tina, do you think there is a chance that there would continue to be telehealth option and an out-of-state person could work for you? So I can't say for sure, Anne. We do know that through at least January 21st, that it is an option. And I do have a BCABA who lives in Texas, but she is still licensed in Virginia. And because of the telehealth and remote options, then that is a possibility. So let's talk about it. Let me see if I can get some more specific dates or figure out what it might look like if we had to go back to in-person. So it's definitely a possibility, and I'm open to it, as long as you could get a license in Virginia. And that's kind of one of the, nice things that's come out of the pandemic is this flexibility that we're being afforded, that might be able to, expand who can work with us. So that's not a terrible thing. And Miriam says, I love seeing ACT being used with not just the clients, but the individuals around them. Yeah, so we use ACT. I use ACT when working with groups of people, looking at shared purposes. I've used it with parents talking about, their children and the things that they want for them and the things that are going on in their homes. I got to facilitate a conversation between roommates last week. That was interesting, but I used the ACT matrix for it. So it wasn't scary for me or awkward or anything like that, because I knew exactly what my process would be. So we do have a big focus on that. And looking for part-time evenings. Yeah, we really can probably do that. So on that sort of ACT, professional development, constantly growing, we have a lot of opportunities for professional development. I'm a BACB ACE provider. So CEUs with us are always free. You'll get all the CEUs you need and you won't have to pay for them. So we've got that. And I will give reimbursement for other professions for their CEUs so that you can keep up with those. But there's also opportunities to deliver professional development. So here on my Crowdcast page, every Thursday, I do a free webinar. And every few weeks, I offer a new paid webinar for some a little more time and a little bit more advanced training. So if you were interested in delivering some professional development. If you're, an occupational therapist or a speech pathologist or a behavior analyst, and you want to put together some trainings and offer them to people, then you can jump right on what we've already developed here, and we can share it out with all of our audiences. And so there's the opportunity to grow professionally yourself, but then also if you want to train other people, we can offer that as well. And when you work with us, I have our list of all the fun things that we provide. So we provide everybody who works with us a device with connectivity so that you can do all of your work. And it has an internet connection, so you can do your work from anywhere without worrying about a Wi-Fi connection. We have an electronic health record system that keeps everything running super smoothly. It makes everything really easy. We use it from referral to intake to assessment, write the plans. Everything is there. There's templates there. If it's not there, it can be created really easily. You can create it. We can pay the company that runs it to create it. There's just endless opportunities. There's automated booking and scheduling if that's interesting to you. Sam takes care of all of our billing, making sure that we have the hours that we need, making sure that plans get into where they need to go. So she keeps us on track with that. So that's really nice because it allows us to focus on mostly billable activities. We're not, trying to run things down that we don't get to bill for. So that's cool. We have G Suite, so it's HIPAA compliant email and a Google Drive, and we use Google Meet, which is HIPAA compliant for all of our telehealth. What else? CEUs are provided, and Sam takes care of all of our admin tasks. We do mileage and supplies reimbursement, so if we were driving, we can reimburse for mileage, we can reimburse for any supplies that you use, and we also work with a really cool assistive technology company that we've got some of our clients hooked up with. And on that note, I should say that the billable activities under therapeutic consultation for behavior or any of the other services that I mentioned are all of the work that we do directly with clients, but also we get to bill for reviewing paperwork for assessments, reviewing paperwork for ongoing assessments, data analysis, designing and developing assistive technologies. So I'm going to take a sip of water. Something just flew into my throat. Designing and developing assistive technologies. So any kind of, Jerianne, you're BCBA and SLP. Perfect, please. We love the consultation model too. Please join us. So the billable activities, so reviewing paperwork for assessment. So we get a referral package and it has as many documents as the support coordinator may have. You take time to review that, you can bill for that. Developing and designing data collection tools, analyzing data, designing and developing any kind of assistive technologies from low tech, very low tech, whether it's a checklist or a visual schedule or prompt cards. I do a lot of business cards for prompting and things like that. And all the way up to high tech, like we're working with this company called My Guide that has a fully customizable app for instruction, for routines, for communication, really anything. So when we're spending time in that, developing those, we can bill for that. We can bill for data analysis. And now that we can bill for telehealth, we can bill for phone calls, which we couldn't do before. Anytime we're designing and developing a behavior assessment or any kind of assessment, or a plan, designing and developing the plan, we can bill for all of that. So there's a lot of flexibility built into what we can do, what we can bill for, what it looks like. And we really try to stick with making sure that we're billing for everything that we're doing so that we're not doing work for free. And I think that's it. What other questions or things do you guys have to add about why people should work with us?
Well, I was going to say that in my time as a support coordinator, the amount of providers that provide therapeutic consultation is low. and I'm sure everywhere, but in Fairfax, I mean, there weren't that many providers of the service. It has definitely increased. But for all the other types of therapy, we primarily have done behavior, but for physical, occupational, speech, there's like nobody.
Yeah.
So there is a potential for a lot of growth and creativity, and because if you joined us and started providing that consultation support, have fun. Like you have no one that's like, you need to do it this way or this way. Like you get to be the start of that type of service. So yeah, have fun with it. I mean, the other thing, if anybody has questions about the waiver, I know the waiver world is like, very confusing and very different from the MCO process. So if anyone has questions about the waiver, you can throw those in there in the chat box as well. But my favorite thing about working with the waiver is the variety of age and the variety of people. You don't know what you're going to get, which is pretty great. Everyone is so different in their needs and the supports. And like I said before, the variety of environments is great, but you get to know so many people and do so many cool things. It's really awesome. But especially if you've been working with kids for a while and you're like, yeah, I love it, but I'm looking for something new. The adults are just as amazing, in my opinion. I think I love my adults, but I think that that's a really cool opportunity to do something different, because I know that adult services are pretty limited out there. So this is a really cool opportunity to get into because waiver is a Medicaid service, so getting into the Medicaid service for adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you are thinking, I would like to work with adults, or I would like to work with other disability populations, but I've never done it before, so I don't think I can. You can, and I will help you. You can, and I will help you. So if that is something that is holding you back from going into a different area, you can do it, and I can help.
Don't let the waiver world keep you away either. Yeah. It's definitely a different world, but that's it. It's just different. You'll learn it.
Having Sam, so I did a lot of figuring this out on my own for 2 years before I hired Sam to help us out. But having Sam just makes things so much easier, because she can communicate with people a lot. There is a lot of communication with the support coordinators, just because they're who are coordinating the supports for the individuals that we work with. But she can take care of a lot of that and really be that go between, so that you're not spending a ton of time communicating logistics or administrative things, or, whatever goes on. Miriam says that leaving the pediatric world to enter this wide range of population speaks for itself. Yeah. Miriam, from the pediatrics to here. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility. And to what Sam said regarding getting these services started, I don't know of any speech pathologists in the state who do consultation.
When I left support coordination, we only had behavior consultation.
And we
have 2 occupational therapists.
Yeah.
They were the first, from my knowledge.
Yeah.
So physical and speech.
Yeah.
Like I said, have fun.
Yeah. And I'll support you through the process. And the electronic health record system that we use is, everything can be created there. So it's not an ADA specific thing at all. It's actually just like a medical intake system where I've built up a whole bunch of processes that just make things really easy. And, the requirements are do an assessment, write a plan, train people on the plan, give people what they need to implement the plan, make sure the plan is working, make changes, and as long as you're doing that within your scope of competence and your scope of practice, then do what works. That's what we're about here, is being flexible and figuring out what works. Yeah. Any other questions? Cheers. Thanks, guys. I have a coconut cream latte because, coffee at night is good. Yeah. I will have some wine when I get home, but I did not bring any bring any with me to the office. But please, if you're here, click on that link below so that we can buy you a drink. And if you're here and interested in joining us, of course, click on that link so that we can buy you a drink. And then there is a spot where you can mark if you're interested, and we'll just pop out an employment application to you. thank you all for being here. It was great to meet you all. Sam?
Did you want to mention the different options for hours?
Yes, I did. What did I want to mention?
Part-time. Yeah.
Yeah, so part-time or full-time, we're flexible. I think I just put it on. I meant actually to look at that before. Did we put a minimum of 15 hours a week? Or 10? Yeah.
Discussed.
Yeah. So minimum of 15 billable hours a week. So that's not direct contact hours. That's just within, minimum of 15 hours a week. And that could look like, 3 to 4 to 5 clients, depending on how often you're seeing them and how intense your services are. So, thank you, Jarian, for joining us. I hope to see you soon.
You guys should come work for us because it's been pretty amazing.
And again, this will be recorded. So if you want to come back to it, or if you think of somebody who might be interested in joining us, if you know any, I think it would be cool to get some LCSWs doing some therapeutic consultation. They definitely bring a different kind of perspective and skill set. So if you know of anyone, share the link. I'll leave the drinks on us thing there as long as I don't start getting a whole bunch of random requests. And I love the idea of a flexible workplace too. That's why I created it. Yes. Because I believe that people do a good job. Yes, 15 hours a week minimum for part-time. And that's 15 billable hours. So that's not 15 face-to-face with a client. And that could be between 3 to 4 clients, depending on how often you're seeing them and what phase you are in consultation. I definitely have some clients who have been with us for a while, and we do consultation, once every 2 weeks or something like that. I actually have a client who I think ends up in a certain place once a year. So I've now been with her for over a year. So I'm just going to stick with it for another year and see if my hypothesis holds.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was going to say 15 hours a week looks like, so coming from my, from what I've seen on my caseload, I've been able to get, I think I have, as of today so far, just for this week, I have, I think 13 hours as of right now. And then I'll try to get I try to get at least 5 billable hours a day. Sometimes it's different depending on what I do in a day. Or sometimes I'm feeling really motivated in the evening and I'll do a little bit more work that night. But you can there's a nice split that you could do 5 hours a day or break it up, however, accordingly throughout the week. So it's definitely doable. So don't be scared of that number.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.